Chosen one, pause for a moment. What you're about to read may be the most urgent message of your life. You stand on the invisible edge of a spiritual battlefield, and though everything around you may seem calm, your soul senses the war that is unfolding. Something unseen is shifting, and heaven is sounding the alarm. Stay out of it. You must align your heart, clear your mind, and open your spirit. What's coming is too big for old mindsets. What's coming requires space. God is about to pour out something powerful, and He needs a vessel that's ready to receive. Before we dive deeper into this word, I need you to do 3 things. First, like this video. Not just to support the channel, but as a bold act of agreement with this prophetic message. Second, subscribe and help us reach 1,000 chosen ones walking in purpose. Then go to the comments and write 99 or 777. Now, breathe. Because here comes the revelation. You are not weak. You are not missing your moment. You are being hidden. You are being spiritually paused. What feels like emotional fog or a lack of motivation isn't failure. It's a divine sedation, a supernatural override of your free will, because the path you were about to take would have pulled you into a demonic snare. God is not asking you to sit still. He's commanding it. Because if you move too soon, if you speak without discernment, if you act out of impulse, you'll activate a trap that was never meant to touch your life. You might feel disconnected from the world, from people, even from your own ambition, but that's because heaven has placed you in sacred isolation. Not to punish, but to protect. Not to shrink you, but to sharpen you. Right now, your words are being measured. Your actions are being tempered. Your decisions are being delayed. Not because you're lost, but because God is clearing a path ahead that your eyes can't yet see. Think of it like this. You're a soldier about to walk into a minefield. And God grabs your shoulders and says, wait. Not later. Now. You're used to being the one who steps in, fixes the problem, smooths things over, takes the weight for others. But what if I told you that this situation, this urgent, emotional, boiling over crisis, was never yours to handle? What if your instinct to help is actually the thing the enemy is waiting to use against you? This is divine warfare, chosen one, and the battleground is your obedience. God's silence right now is not absence, it is strategic stillness. When the noise fades and everyone else is rushing into chaos, you are being called to retreat, to pause, to listen. Because the next move isn't yours, it's God's. The danger is not just emotional or relational, it's spiritual, strategic, precise. A setup masked as a second chance. A betrayal dressed in familiar skin. A friend whose words are laced with subtle manipulation. You might feel like something is off, but you can't explain why. That's discernment. Don't ignore it. Someone close to you, knowingly or unknowingly, has opened a gate to the enemy. They may be smiling. They may even be saying all the right things. But behind their actions, a different spirit is at work. And God is not just exposing it, He is intervening. You may feel a sudden urge to pull back, go quiet, withdraw emotionally. That is not fear. That is divine guidance. Let God pull you out. You're not retreating, you're being rerouted. You're not losing your voice, you're being tuned to hear a frequency the world doesn't understand. And when you come out of this, when the fog lifts and the noise dies down, you'll see clearly what God was saving you from. It wasn't just heartache, it was destiny damage. Because sometimes the greatest protection is not a miracle in motion. It's a storm never allowed to form. So don't chase the noise, don't force the door open. Don't reach for what's being removed. This is your extraction. The Spirit of God is lifting you out of relationships, assignments, and environments that look harmless but are soaked in spiritual poison. You don't have to understand it all right now. You just have to obey. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to explain your withdrawal. The divine override is happening whether you understand it or not. Heaven has seen enough, and God is shutting it down, quietly, permanently, beautifully. What happens next will redefine your path, but only if you let go, only if you stay out of it. Chosen one, the spiritual atmosphere around you is not as quiet as it seems. While your outer world may appear still, the unseen realm is echoing with motion, strategy, and divine orchestration. You've been feeling the silence, the emptiness, the slow drag of emotions as if life is happening behind a veil. That veil is not your failure, it is your fortress. God is sheltering you in stillness. You're not abandoned. You're in divine quarantine. The spiritual activity that once swirled around you, every battle, every distraction, every demand, is being stripped away. You've been pulled into a holy stillness, not to be forgotten, but to be fortified. Right now, something sacred is unfolding beneath your awareness. Your spirit may feel slow, your thoughts scattered, your energy drained, but that is not exhaustion. It is a divine shutdown, a sacred sedation of your soul. God is quieting your will, numbing your reach, and silencing your impulse, not to punish you, but to protect you from yourself. Heaven sees what you cannot. You were about to make a decision. It looked smart, maybe even necessary. But beneath its surface was a snare, one that would have rerouted your purpose for years. God intercepted. You may feel stuck, frustrated, or tempted to force things forward. But heaven is holding the brakes for your salvation. And that delay? It's not denial, it's divine. The storm you almost stepped into wasn't loud. It was subtle. It looked like reconciliation. It looked like a new opportunity. It felt like closure. But it was a trap in disguise. And God, in His mercy, is pulling you back from the edge. He's not just silencing your surroundings, He's silencing your urge to act. Your need to fix, your impulse to reach out, to explain, to reconnect. Why? Because those connections are corrupted. What once felt like comfort has turned into contamination, and God is cutting the cord. Don't fear the withdrawal, embrace it. You're being extracted from demonic loops, emotional traps that were designed to look like second chances, conversations you thought would bring healing. They were scripted to stir confusion. Relationships you thought were reconciliations. They were rehearsed setups, assignments that felt urgent. They were distractions dressed in importance. But God saw the threads beneath the surface, the hidden motives, the veiled envy, the subtle sabotage, and said, "Enough." You didn't hear the betrayal. You didn't see the plot, but heaven did, and the Spirit moved swiftly to place a wall between you and the danger. Now you feel the effects: solitude, stillness, even sadness. But don't confuse isolation with abandonment. This is divine relocation. Your spirit is being shifted, quietly, sacredly, from one spiritual territory to another. You're not being rejected, you're being redeployed. You've outgrown the circles that once held you. You've graduated from the emotional loops that used to trap you. And now God is erasing your name from assignments that were never meant to define you. You're not being silenced, you're being spiritually transported. Think of it this way: God is hiding you in plain sight. To others, it may seem like you've gone quiet, withdrawn, or lost your passion. But the truth is, you're being recalibrated. Silently, powerfully, invisibly. And while you sleep, yes, even while you rest, heaven is rewriting your timeline. The next 3 years of your life are being rerouted. Conversations you never had are being ended before they begin. Relationships you thought were necessary are being gently dismantled. Opportunities that looked good are being blocked because God sees where they lead, and it's not where you belong. You're not tired. You're not lazy. You're being stripped of your own will so that God's perfect will can be fully activated. He is replacing your instinct with revelation, your reaction with rest, your push with peace, and the peace you feel in the silence. That's the signature of God. This isn't weakness. It's warfare. You're not fighting in the open anymore, you're fighting by surrendering. And the enemy hates that. Because when a chosen one stops striving and starts listening, power begins to move in the unseen. Heaven backs those who trust the process. Right now, you are being guarded. Some of the people who have drifted from your life weren't just distractions, they were portals. Access points through which manipulation, deceit, or even spiritual oppression were flowing. But God has intervened. Those doors have been closed and the locks have been sealed with divine authority. Yes, you'll feel the ache, the confusion, the why did this happen? But soon clarity will come like light cracking through a dense fog. You'll see the setups, you'll recognize the schemes, and you'll fall to your knees, not in sorrow, but in awe. God stopped what you couldn't see, so don't mourn the silence, celebrate it. It means the enemy's plans are being dismantled in real time. Your timeline is being cleansed, your future is being guarded. Your assignment is being preserved. You were not meant to handle what was about to come at you. That's why God stepped in. You weren't losing momentum, you were being saved. And now the stillness that surrounds you is heaven's strategy to restore your strength, sharpen your discernment, and recalibrate your direction. Stay in the pause. The silence is sacred. What God is doing now will make sense later. For now, your only job is to trust and stay out of it. You don't need to fix it. You don't need to fight it. You need only to obey the silence. Because when the divine pause ends, when the season of holy stillness lifts, you'll walk out with more authority, more clarity, and more peace than you've ever known. And when you do, nothing and no one will be able to pull you back into what God pulled you out of. You were about to walk into something that looked right, felt right, maybe even seemed blessed. But beneath the surface, it was a ticking trap. And because God loves you too much to let you fall, He allowed a divine interruption. That thing you thought you lost, that relationship that suddenly shifted, that opportunity that fell apart, it wasn't sabotage, it was salvation. God stepped in and said no. Not to harm you, but to spare you from years of confusion, heartbreak, and spiritual delay. He isn't just saving you from an immediate mistake, He's saving your legacy. Right now you might feel like your world has been paused, like your thoughts are swirling and your emotions are numb. But hear this silence, this fog, this strange emotional standstill is sacred. You are in the eye of a storm that never hit you because heaven blocked it before it could reach your soul. You've been walking through your days with a sense of disconnection. Activities feel dull, people seem distant, your motivation feels foreign. That's not a failure, it's a spiritual anesthesia. God has sedated your urgency so you don't run toward something that's not meant for you. He has numbed the parts of you that used to react out of pressure, impulse, or fear. You are not dead inside. You are being prepared. When God whispers, "Stay out of it," it's not just about avoiding something harmful. It's about trusting something higher. Because the issue isn't just what's in front of you, it's what's hidden behind it. There are spiritual attacks wrapped in friendly faces. There are traps set in innocent gestures. Someone you trust may be unknowingly granting access to your life through spiritual manipulation. You've felt it, haven't you? That unease when you talk to them. That gut feeling that something is off, even though nothing looks wrong. That's not paranoia, that's discernment sharpening. And God is confirming what your spirit already knows. Some connections are being cut, not because you're being abandoned, but because you're being extracted from a demonic setup. Don't resist it. Don't mourn what God is removing. He's not taking something from you, he's rescuing something within you. Even now, angels are working behind the scenes, removing your name from rooms you were never meant to enter, untangling your spirit from emotional soul ties you didn't realize still lingered, erasing connections that served a past version of you but are incompatible with the future he's building. You are not being punished. You are being reassigned. There is a shift in your spiritual position. Your calling has outgrown your current environment. And so God is relocating you, not just geographically or relationally, but dimensionally. The disorientation you feel is proof. The things you used to understand no longer make sense. The people you used to lean on are pulling away. You're waking up to find the old ways no longer work. That's not chaos, that's clarity. God is dismantling everything that no longer aligns with your destiny. Chosen one, you are being moved into a higher realm of purpose. But to go where God is taking you, you must let him clear what can't come with you. Let him remove the voices that cloud your thinking. Let him sever the ties that distort your truth. Let him delay the plans that would have derailed your future. When he closes a door, do not force it back open. When someone walks away, do not chase. When something crumbles, do not try to rebuild what God tore down. You don't need to know the whole story. You don't need to understand every detail. What you need is trust. Because the divine extraction happening in your life right now isn't just to save you, it's to reposition you for supernatural elevation. There is a shift occurring in the spirit realm. A holy transition. You're not who you were last year, last month, or even last week. Your spirit is being rewired. Your discernment is being upgraded, and your calling is being recalibrated to carry more authority than ever before. Don't try to rush the process. Don't try to fill the silence. Don't try to get back to normal. You are not returning to anything. You are rising into something new. This silence you're walking through, it's God building a fortress of peace around your soul, a stillness that will become your weapon, a calm that will keep you grounded when others panic. The world is spinning in chaos, but your soul is being anchored in truth. And that inner peace, that's not just for comfort, it's evidence that God is near. It's the sign that you've entered a realm where heaven takes priority over performance, where presence matters more than productivity, where being hidden is not punishment, but preparation. So let go. Release the need to explain yourself. Release the need to defend your distance. Release the urge to re-engage what God is cutting off. Instead, lean into the quiet, because it's in this sacred silence that your authority is growing. What's being taken from you was always temporary. What's being given to you will be eternal. You are being positioned not just for favor, but for spiritual power. Not for recognition, but for divine impact. You are not just being protected, you are being prepared to walk through new doors with unshakable discernment and undeniable presence. Stay in alignment, stay in stillness, stay out of it. The elevation that's coming will explain the silence that's been surrounding you. Chosen one, you are not stuck, you are stationed. You have not been forgotten, you've been hidden. And you have not been silenced, you're being sanctified. Everything in your life that feels like it's on hold right now is under divine protection. What seems like a pause is actually a sacred rerouting, a spiritual recalibration designed to align you with something far greater than you can currently comprehend. God is pulling you out of the noise, out of the familiar, out of conversations that drain you and environments that dull your discernment. You might not have planned this quiet season, but heaven did. You are being hidden in plain sight, not to punish you, but to protect your purpose from contamination. There's a spiritual relocation underway, and it's not about a change in geography, it's a shift in spiritual authority. You are being lifted from one realm of understanding to another, from shallow waters to deeper revelation, from emotional reactivity to divine awareness. You may feel strange, disoriented, unsure of who or what still fits in your life, but that confusion is actually evidence of transformation. You're not falling apart, you're emerging. You're being repositioned by the hand of God Himself. The circles that once welcomed you are now growing quiet. The places that once brought comfort now feel empty. The people who once surrounded you may no longer reach out. But this isn't loneliness, it's refinement. You are being extracted from what no longer aligns with the future God has written for you, and while you sleep, heaven is at work. Behind the veil of stillness, angels are removing your name from toxic places. Spiritual contracts are being torn up. Unseen battles are being won. You are being redefined, not by the world's standards, but by divine assignment. This is why you feel the way you do. It's not depression, it's not fatigue. It's not disconnection, it's a divine rewiring. God is removing the emotional noise that used to dictate your reactions. You're no longer controlled by urgency. You're no longer swayed by pressure. He's creating space in your mind so you can receive revelation without confusion. You've entered a place where stillness is strategy. God is breaking the cycle of distraction that once made you think movement was progress. He's showing you that peace is more powerful than striving, that silence is a weapon, that pulling back is not retreat, it's repositioning. You were never meant to fight this next battle. That's why the weight has been lifted from your shoulders. You're not being lazy or checked out. You've been relieved of duty for this assignment. Why? Because if you fought it, you'd bleed. But if God handles it, you'll rise without a scar. Some of the people around you, the ones who suddenly went cold or distant, weren't rejecting you. They were being removed for your protection. God is shielding you from words not yet spoken, plans not yet revealed, and betrayals not yet uncovered. The plot was forming, but He stopped it before it could unfold. And here's the truth: you may never fully understand what God saved you from, but you will feel the peace that replaced the warfare. You'll walk in rooms that feel lighter. You'll wake up without heaviness. You'll find clarity in conversations you used to dread. This is what divine extraction looks like. It doesn't always announce itself, but when it's done, you feel the shift in your soul. God isn't just repositioning your spirit, He's reassigning your authority. You are being elevated. There is a spiritual mantle falling on you, quietly, powerfully, permanently. It's an anointing that doesn't need to be explained. It will be felt. You'll speak and people will pause. You'll pray and atmospheres will shift. You'll discern without asking. You'll know things your logic never learned. This is the reward for your stillness. This is what happens when obedience meets divine timing. But with that authority comes responsibility. God is trusting you with influence, not for your ego, but for His glory. You are being positioned to lead others with wisdom, to protect those still walking blindly, to intercede with power because you've known what it's like to be broken and rebuilt in silence. You are stepping into a level of clarity where your yes will carry weight and your no will carry peace. You won't have to explain your boundaries. You won't need to justify your absence. People will sense the presence on you. They'll feel the divine distance that now surrounds your life. You've been moved, not just in spirit, but in rank. Your silence has birthed authority. Your stillness has birthed strategy, and your surrender has birthed spiritual visibility. Chosen one, your steps may have been slowed, but your soul has been elevated. You now walk with heaven's rhythm. God is using your obedience in this silent season to prepare a table that only you can sit at. And when the time comes, it will be clear to everyone why you had to disappear for a while. You didn't go missing. You are in training, so let go of the timeline, release the pressure, stop explaining the quiet, just stay hidden a little longer. Let the Holy Spirit finish what He started. Because what's on the other side of this season is not just a new chapter, it's a new identity. One marked by discernment, one marked by peace, one marked by power. You are not who you were when this started. And that's the point. You will move in discernment. You will speak with authority. You will carry the mark of someone who was forged in the fire and did not burn, who was silenced by heaven and returned with a roar of clarity, who was hidden by God, not because they were weak, but because they were being refined into a weapon. God has marked you with a divine seal of favor and fire, a protective barrier that no enemy can penetrate, a spiritual promotion that requires no human approval. And because of that, you must now walk in bold humility. You're not better than anyone, but you are no longer allowed to shrink to make others comfortable. You have been called higher, but with the higher call comes the need for sharper discernment. You're about to encounter opportunities, invitations, and connections that feel right on the surface. But underneath, they are laced with spiritual distraction. And so your ability to pause and listen to God's whisper will become your lifeline. Discernment isn't just about detecting evil, it's about recognizing what is not yours. It's about noticing what is good, but not God. It's about having the strength to walk away from something that makes sense to the mind, but doesn't resonate in the soul. God is fine-tuning you for this. Your spiritual senses are sharper. You'll feel what can't be seen. You'll know who to avoid before they reveal their intentions. You'll sense when a space is off, even if the people in it smile. That's not paranoia, it's your spiritual radar. And it's working. You're being elevated into a space where peace becomes your compass. If something costs you your peace, it's too expensive. If something causes your discernment to flicker, it's not worth the risk. If someone requires you to dull your light, they don't belong in your next chapter. And here's the truth. You won't have to chase anything. The divine connections you need, they're already in motion. The right people are being drawn to your frequency. You won't need to convince, beg, or prove. The door that is meant for you will recognize you, and when you knock, it will open. You've spent years planting seeds in private, praying in silence, believing even when the evidence didn't show up. Heaven remembers, and now someone is about to remember you, someone in a position of influence, someone with access, someone with answers. A divine connection, preordained, is on the way. They will not just see your potential, they will recognize your anointing. But don't be surprised if the blessing looks sudden. It won't be. It will be the manifestation of everything you've endured in the dark. This is your moment of divine recognition. The quiet work is now bearing loud fruit, and while the world will call it favor, you'll know it as proof of obedience. You may have once been underestimated, misread, or overlooked, but now you'll be sought out, not because of what you've gained in the physical, but because of the power, peace, and presence that now surrounds your life like a shield. You've been through the extraction, the redefinition, the holy hiding. Now you walk in divine clarity and calling. Let this final truth settle deep in your spirit. You don't need to reopen old doors. You don't need to explain your shift. You don't need to dim your light to fit familiar shadows. You are walking into the spaces you were born for. You are rising into alignment with every promise that was once delayed. You are no longer waiting, you are becoming. And no force in hell can stop what heaven has already declared over your life. You are chosen, and now finally,